Hi, hello, year 8. Welcome to school. Now we're going to do our online lesson through this video. So before we start our lesson, please get your pens and notebook ready with you, and also you need to have a calculator. Today we are going to do percentage, so a calculator would be very useful for your study. All right. If you are ready, we can start now. Okay, so during the video, please take advantage of using videos. You could pause the video whenever you want. If you want to have more time to think about it, if something you are not quite clear about, you can rewind the video, going back to where you got some confusion, to watch it again. Right? So there are lots of functions you can explore using videos that will be really useful for your study, right? It's unlike a live lesson that we don't have much interaction, but you can still watch the video over and over again, right? And also you might ask me question in the collaboration if there's something you don't understand. I mean the collaboration area in the notebook. You might also send me the email. All right. Okay. So let's start our first lesson. Okay. So first lesson would be, so that's lesson 1. So lesson 1 just means my the notes, the first notes. It doesn't mean we are going to finish the whole lesson for the complete notes. All right. Okay. We might only complete half of the handout for each note, for each the so-called lesson. All right. Okay. So the first lesson is about revision on percentage, and also you need to know how to convert fractions and decimal to a percentage. Okay. So what do we mean by percentage? If you see this sign, that means percentage sign. All right, that 2 circle, 1 stroke inside, that means it's a fraction out of 100, right? So for example, if I say 20%, that means 20 out of 100, right? 20 out of 100 was simply 20 of 100, which is just a fraction. Okay, so you understand that actually percentage is just a fraction with denominator 100. That's it. Okay, so normally in primary school or in year 7, you have learned that we can use some grid diagram. So grid diagram means a diagram with many boxes. All right, there will be 100 boxes in this grid diagram. Okay, so this is what we call a time times time grid diagram. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that means 10 boxes on the horizontal axis and 10 on the vertical axis. So total that would be 100. So that means there are 100 boxes. All right. Okay. So from this figure, you see how many boxes or how many small square has been shaded. Okay. So from this figure, you see the shaded small squares. How many of them? Okay, there are 1 row, 1 column, 2 columns, 3 column, 4 columns. So there are 4 columns. So there are 40. All right. So how about unshaded? Oh, sorry, it's HH. Unshaded small square. So that would be 60. So the sum of them must be 100. All right. So let's say if we ask you percentage of shaded area, if we ask you percentage of shade area, then it should be 40%, because that's 40 is out of 100, right? Okay, and that's unshaded percentage of unshaded area would be 60%. Okay, all right, but how about, so that's in terms of percentage. How about if we want to represent this as equivalent fractions? We understand that. Okay. Understand that 40%, which just means 40 out of 100. Okay. When you look at the diagram, there are 4 columns out of 10. Okay, so that's 4 for 10. Okay, but you have learned how to convert that fractions into its lowest form. That's 2 over 5, right? So unshaded part should be 60 out of 100. Okay, and 6 over 10 and 3 over 5. All right, so that means for any percentage given, you can always convert them into fractions. All right. Okay, you might need to take up a few minutes to understand this. Okay, don't rush. Try to understand this. If you need to go back to watch it again, just do so. Okay, I'm going to pause it, but just for a reminder that. Okay, so make sure you really understand this. Okay, so that will be our first question in the handout. Okay, represent 10% on a grid diagram and write it as an equivalence fraction. Okay, so you need to represent this in the grid diagram and write the answer as an equivalent fraction. All right. Let's see what happens. So if we need to represent means you need to use a diagram to represent what do we mean by 10%. Okay. Okay. So if we need to get 10%, so 10% means 10 out of 100. So there are 100 small squares. So you need to shade 10 of them, right? So normally we shade like this. Okay. Okay, so that's it. And so 10% means this. Write it as an equivalent fraction. So 10% means 10 out of 100. Can we simplify this? Alright, so if you remember, you could use your calculator to help you to simplify this. Still remember how to do this? Okay, so let me show you. If that's your calculator, if you want to simplify this, you want to simplify 10 out of 100. What are you going to do? Okay, you need to press 10. Alright, you need to press 10. Okay, suppose you need to press 10. Oh, sorry. Sorry, if you use this one, sorry, my fault. Okay, first button you need to press is this one. Okay, sorry. You need to press this button. Okay, by pressing this button, you will see something like this appear in the screen, right? Over here. Alright, then you are going to input 10. Okay, you are going to input 10. Alright, input 10 here. Okay, then you press 10 here, push 10 here, and then you press 100. Okay, so 10 over 100. Then what are you going to do? Then you are going to press this. Okay, after you press this, okay, so this will disappear. Sorry, this will disappear. And you will show your answer right here as 1/10. So that will be the answer. Okay? So that's the answer, alright? Okay, so that's how we do it. And so going back here. So if you use your calculator, you could see that will be 1/10. Alright? Okay, what percentage is unshaded? So the rest of them is unshaded. So it's 90%. So that's 90 divided by 100. Okay, again, you use your calculator. Use your calculator to help you to simplify it. It's now for 10. Alright, so A is about the shaded region. B is about unshaded region. Okay, alright. Okay, let's have the same question, but we change the number a little bit. Okay, let's do another one. This time, we just change your number from 10% to 25%. Okay, 25%. Okay, all right. So you are going to again, okay, represent 20%, 25% on the grid diagram, and then you use your calculator to convert into equivalent fractions in its lowest form, and then you need to answer what's the unshaded part, what's the percentage of unshaded part. The percentage of unshaded part is always the rest of it. So if, like what we have done before, if that's 10% shaded, then that would be 90%. So that's from the diagram you could see it. All right, and then you convert that unshaded part, the percentage of unshaded part into an equivalent fractions. All right, okay. Let's try to do it. Okay, so I might need to give you some time. Please try to work by yourself, and you might take, I think that would be at least 5 or 10 minutes, depends on your understanding, right? Okay, you might go back to see how could I, how did I do the previous example, and you apply the same skill for this one. All right, okay, let's pause the video. Okay, so let's see what can we do. Okay, so for part A, okay, you need to represent that in the grid diagram. That's 25%. Okay, I use this color. Okay, so that's 10, right? That's 20. Okay, so that's 24. Sorry, 25. Okay, equivalent fractions. Again, you need to write things like this: 25%, 25 divided by this one, and use your calculator again. All right, so it will show it will be 1/4. So unshaded part will be the rest of small squares in the grid diagram. So that would be, so 25 has been shaded, so that should be 75 unshaded. Right, use your calculator to track that. So that would be the answer. All right, okay, all good. Okay, so let's see if we know how to convert, for example, 20% as an equivalent fraction. All right, so of course we know how to do it by previous example, but is there any method that I could do it more quickly rather than I must convert that 20% to 20/100? Okay, so that's a quicker way to convert 20% directly into the fractions. Okay, let's see what should I do. So here's the question, right? So here's the question. All right, sorry, I need to go back to here. Okay, sorry. Convert 20%. Okay, so what are you going to do? First, you need to press 20. You know how to press 20 over here. So you need to press 20. Okay, then you need to find out how to press that percentage sign. So you see that percentage sign is over here, right? So to do that, you need to first hit that shift, okay, and then you hit this button. Okay, so if you want to see the percentage sign, you need to first hit shift, and then you hit that left hand bracket, and so they will give you the percentage sign. After you do these two, you will see here's percentage sign. Okay, and then you press that equal sign. By pressing that equal sign, it will show you the answer, okay, as 1/5. Then it's done. Okay, so the answer would be 20%, 1/5. Okay, but for some of you, because the setting of your calculator, you might see, okay, the outcome will be something like 0.2. Okay, so that's a decimal number. It's not an equivalent fraction. So what are we going to do to change that 0.2 into the equivalent fraction? And for that part, you need to use this button. That means you change from decimal to fractions. Okay, you just use that one. All right, so if you hit that one, and you will see 1/5 right away. Okay, so that's it. Okay, no problem. All right. Let's go back here. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, convert that's 45% as an equivalent fraction in its lowest form. Okay, then use your calculator. Okay, let's try. Okay, I'm going to give you some time. You might pause the video now. Try to use your calculator to see if you can convert that 45% into equivalent fractions of in its lowest form, right? Okay, if you have tried, the answer would be 9/20. All right, okay. So in the examination, it depends on the question. If they just ask you to convert that percentage into the fraction, then you might just use your calculator. That would be totally fine with me. Okay, but if you really like to write some steps, okay, if you really like to write some steps, you can always write things like this. If you really want to do so, that's okay. So that's the working. That's the step you might want to show. Okay, but for me it's unnecessary. If you can convert that percentage into the simplest fraction, then you just do so by using calculator, right? Okay. Okay, so that's the handout I give to you, right? Okay, so we finished page 1 up to page 4. Okay, so we are not going to do page 5 and so on. Okay, so you might do some practice by using the questions in page 3. So that would be your practice. Okay, and so this practice, all questions would be very similar to the question 1. Okay, all you need to do is to shade the area and you find the unshaded part. So there are 2 questions. One's part A. you need to represent the percentage given into a on the grid diagram, and then you write them as a equivalent fraction. All right, and then you need to answer question, part B as percentage of unshaded, and also the fraction equivalent to. Use calculator if you want. Okay, so that's the only homework for our first lesson. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye.